The journey to self-respect, building a life of authenticity and freedom. There's a moment when you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and for the first time in a long while, you don't see a tired face. You see a person. You. No drama, no masks. Not perfect, but real. This is the starting point of self-respect. It's not a grand epiphany or a cinematic triumph. It's a quiet shift, a subtle recognition of your own worth. From this moment, everything begins to change. Not because the universe suddenly turns benevolent, but because you stopped allowing just anyone or anything into your life. You've begun to choose yourself. Saying no to settling. How self-worth shapes healthy boundaries. When you value yourself, you stop tolerating what's harmful, draining, or beneath your worth. This isn't about arrogance or thinking you're better than others. It's about boundaries. It's about no longer feeling compelled to explain yourself to everyone who takes offense at your choices or to chase after those who ignore your efforts. You stop justifying your decision to prioritize your own well-being, whether it's your time, energy, or emotional health. Consider a relatable scenario. A friend who's chronically late, keeping you waiting for hours, turning your time into a test of endurance. In the past, you might have swallowed your frustration, made excuses for them, and waited, sacrificing your own plans. But when you reach that pivotal moment of self-respect, you draw a line. You say, if you're late again, I'm leaving. And when they are, you follow through. You walk away. They might be shocked, even indignant, but you feel something new, a quiet, profound satisfaction. You've chosen yourself, your time, your dignity. You've realized your time is just as valuable as anyone else's, and wasting it on endless waiting is a form of self-betrayal. This shift ripples into other areas of life too. Maybe you once accepted a job with a meager salary, toxic coworkers, or grueling hours because you feared unemployment or believed you had no better options. But when you start respecting your skills, experience, and time, you recognize your worth. You begin seeking opportunities that align with your value, refusing to settle for less. This isn't about being entitled or demanding without merit. It's about setting a standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. Your worth isn't dictated by what others are willing to offer. It's rooted in what you know about yourself, your capabilities, your potential, your right to a life that doesn't diminish you. These boundaries extend to relationships, both personal and professional. You stop tolerating disrespect, whether it's a partner who belittles you, a colleague who undermines your work, or a friend who only shows up when they need something. You learn to say, "This isn't okay," and mean it, not out of anger, but from a place of clarity and self-worth. You understand that your emotional space is sacred, and not everyone deserves access to it. This shift isn't about building walls to keep people out. It's about creating doors that only open for those who respect what's on the other side.
Breaking free from seeking approval, finding your inner foundation. With self-respect comes freedom from the need for external validation. You no longer rely on others' approval to feel worthy, capable, or whole. You become your own foundation, a steady anchor in a world of shifting opinions and unpredictable circumstances. It's like footwear. When you're barefoot, any pair of shoes, even worn-out, ill-fitting ones, feels like a treasure, a shield against the rough ground. But once you have sturdy, comfortable boots that fit perfectly, you wouldn't dream of slipping on tattered sneakers that pinch your feet or fall apart. The same applies to people and situations. When you don't value yourself, you cling to anyone who offers even a flicker of warmth, attention, or approval, even if it's fleeting, insincere, or toxic. You settle for crumbs because you're starving for connection. But when self-respect takes root, your choices become clear. You stop seeking confirmation of your worth from others because you found it within yourself. You no longer depend on their moods, opinions, or validation to define your value. This liberates you from the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing, the fear of rejection, or the compulsion to mold yourself to fit others' expectations. You stop being a chameleon, changing colors to blend into someone else's vision of who you should be. Instead, you become yourself, raw, real, unapologetic, and that authenticity is liberating. This shift changes the kind of attention you attract. When you stop chasing validation, you begin drawing in people who value you for who you are, not what you can do for them. They're drawn to your authenticity, your quiet strength, your refusal to bend just to be liked. This doesn't mean you become closed off or indifferent, far from it. You're more open than ever, but now it's to meaningful connections built on mutual respect, trust, and reciprocity. You don't need someone else's light to shine. You've discovered your own, and it's steady, warm, and undeniable. This inner foundation also helps you navigate life's uncertainties. You face challenges with resilience, knowing that your worth isn't tied to external outcomes, whether it's a promotion, a relationship, or societal approval. You're not invincible, but you're grounded. You can weather storms because you trust yourself to stand firm, to rebuild, to keep going. This is the essence of self-respect. Not a fleeting feeling, but a deep, unshakable belief in your own value, no matter what the world throws at you. Guarding your energy. Your attention is a precious resource. With self-respect comes a new understanding. Your attention is a finite and precious resource. You stop forcing your way into spaces where you're not valued or welcome. No more texting first when your messages go unanswered. No more chasing explanations for someone's silence. No more pushing to be where you're not wanted. You've realized that your time, energy, and emotional investment are valuable, and they shouldn't be squandered on those who don't reciprocate. Imagine your attention as water in a desert. You choose where to pour it, into fertile soil where it can nurture growth, connection, and meaning, or into barren cracks where it seeps away, yielding nothing but frustration. In the past, you might have poured it into those cracks, desperately hoping something would bloom, believing your generosity would be rewarded with loyalty or appreciation. But now you're wiser. You know your resources, emotional, mental, temporal, are limited, and they deserve to be used intentionally.
This realization often comes from hard-earned lessons. Maybe you've been burned by one-sided friendships, where you gave endlessly while receiving little in return. Perhaps you've poured energy into relationships or jobs that left you depleted, wondering why you felt so empty. Those experiences, though painful, teach you to discern who values your presence and who's merely passing through, taking what they can. You learn to recognize the difference between those who genuinely care and those who see you as a convenience. When you stop overextending yourself, you reclaim energy once spent trying to break through walls of indifference or self-doubt. That energy now fuels your own growth, your goals, passions, and the relationships that truly enrich your life. You become selective not out of snobbery, but out of wisdom. You invest in people and pursuits that align with your values, that respect your worth. This selectivity doesn't isolate you. It creates harmony, balance, and a sense of fulfillment. You're no longer a beggar for attention. You're a steward of your own resources, choosing where and how to spend them with care. The path to self, from disappointment to maturity and stoicism. Self-respect isn't a switch you flip. It's a journey, often sparked by disappointment. Someone lets you down, betrays your trust, or walks away, leaving you with emotional scars. You sit with that pain, asking, why me? Why does this keep happening? You might feel like a victim of an unfair world, caught in a cycle of hurt. Then, like a quiet revelation, a question emerges. What if I've been choosing the wrong people? What if I've been allowing treatment I don't deserve? That's when maturity begins. You stop waiting for someone to swoop in and fix your life. You let go of the fantasy that others will change to suit your hopes, or that you can save them through patience or sacrifice. You start seeing things clearly, without illusions or resentment. This is Stoicism, not cold detachment, but clarity. It's accepting that life isn't always fair, kind, or easy, and you don't have to be everyone's favorite person. Stoicism here means recognizing you can't control external events, but you can control how you respond. You embrace losses as part of growth, extract lessons from mistakes, and keep moving forward without being tethered to the past. I once knew someone trapped in a soul-crushing office job under a tyrannical boss. For 10 years, he endured belittlement, burnout, and endless stress, justifying it with excuses like, it's a tough economy, I have a mortgage, this is stable. Fear and habit kept him stuck. Then one day, he walked away. No drama, no grand speeches, just a quiet exit. He took a job as a delivery driver to pay the bills, then used his skills and determination to start his own small business. Now, he smiles, not because life is perfect, but because he's free. He learned that clinging to what breaks you, whether it's a job, a relationship, or a mindset, keeps your hands too full to reach for something better. Valuing yourself means refusing destruction, even if it's familiar or feels safe. It's choosing growth, possibility, and well-being, even when it's uncertain or daunting. This journey often involves reevaluating your past choices. You might look back and see patterns, times you stayed too long, gave too much, or ignored red flags. Instead of beating yourself up, you use these insights to grow. You start asking, what do I want? What do I deserve? And you act on the answers. This is where self-respect takes root, not in perfection, but in the courage to learn, adapt, and choose differently. The paradox of loss, freedom through letting go. When you start respecting yourself, you lose things. It sounds counterintuitive. Society often pushes us to accumulate, to hold on tightly. But these losses are liberation. You lose friends who were only around when it suited them, who thrived on your tolerance of their selfishness or toxicity. Relationships built on pity, sacrifice, or the illusion that you could change someone by loving them harder. Jobs that drained your spirit, stifled your growth, and left you too exhausted to live fully. These losses clear space for what's real. People who respect your boundaries without needing a manual, who value you for who you are, not what you can provide. Work that aligns with your purpose, energizes you, and allows you to grow and thrive. A life where you don't hide from yourself, where you can be authentic without fear of judgment or rejection. This isn't magic or some mystical law of attraction, it's logic. When you stop letting in those who disrespect you, those who kick down the door instead of knocking, you make room for those who approach with care and respect. The world mirrors your standards. By becoming selective, you signal what you're worth, and the universe responds, not with cosmic generosity, but with the natural consequence of your choices. You become a magnet for what you project: strength, authenticity, and self-respect. These losses can feel painful at first, Letting go of familiar people or situations, even toxic ones, can stir fear or grief. But with time, you realize these weren't losses, they were acts of freedom. You've shed what was holding you back, creating space for what lifts you up. You've chosen to walk toward those who value you, not those who merely tolerate you. Inner strength, not armor, embracing vulnerability with confidence. Self-respect isn't a shield that makes you untouchable or emotionless. It's an inner foundation, a quiet strength that allows you to be vulnerable without being diminished. You can still cry when it hurts, stumble when you try, and feel deeply, but you don't let others exploit your openness or treat you as less than you are. You don't stay where you're disrespected, even if it's socially expected or tied to a long history. You don't hold on to people who drag you down, no matter how much you care for them. Stoicism in this context isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about independence. You don't let others' opinions, shifting circumstances, or external chaos dictate your worth. You feel your emotions fully, but refuse to let them hijack your decisions or define your path. You become an observer of your inner world, not its prisoner, allowing you to navigate life with clarity and purpose. I once saw a woman in a coffee shop calmly tell a man, "I'm leaving because being with you makes me feel bad." He laughed, trying to dismiss her words or make her feel foolish. She didn't argue, didn't raise her voice. She just walked away. Her eyes weren't angry, they were resolute. She wasn't waiting for him to understand or change. She chose herself, her peace, her well-being. That's strength, not in loud defiance or dramatic gestures, but in quiet conviction. She didn't need his approval or validation. She acted from a place of self-worth, a place where her own needs and feelings were non-negotiable. This kind of strength allows you to be vulnerable without fear. You can open your heart, take risks, and admit mistakes, knowing that your worth remains intact. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be true to yourself. This balance of vulnerability and strength is what makes self-respect so powerful. It lets you live fully, authentically, without being at the mercy of others' judgments or expectations.
Letting go of revenge. Maturity over isolation. When you value yourself, you don't waste energy on revenge or proving your worth to those who wronged you. You don't need to win arguments or show others they were wrong. You simply move forward, knowing your life is yours to shape. There's room only for those who walk beside you, who support your growth, who share your values, not those who hold you back or undermine you. This isn't loneliness, it's maturity. Maturity means prioritizing quality over quantity in relationships. You let go of connections that drain you, whether they're friendships, romantic ties, or even family dynamics that no longer serve you. Your circle may shrink, but its depth grows exponentially. You'd rather be at peace alone than lonely in a crowd, surrounded by people who don't see your worth. You stop complaining, recognizing that no one is obligated to save you and no one can. Your power lies in owning your choices. Sometimes you choose silently, letting your actions speak louder than words. Other times you stand firm, defending your boundaries with calm resolve. Always you choose honestly, staying true to yourself and your values. That's when others' respect follows, not because you demand it, but because your integrity commands it. They sense your strength, your refusal to be diminished, your commitment to living authentically. You become a quiet example of what it means to live with self-respect, inspiring others not through preaching, but through being. Choosing simplicity. Peace as mature happiness. Self-respect means choosing simplicity over chaos. You turn away from drama, fleeting passion, or emotional roller coasters that leave you depleted. Instead, you choose people who are clear about their intentions, who don't play games or thrive on conflict. Relationships free of power struggles, built on mutual respect, trust, and support. Work that aligns with your purpose, energizes you, and leaves room for your passions and personal life. A home where you feel safe, where silence is comforting rather than oppressive, where you can be yourself without pretense. This isn't boring, it's mature happiness. It's rooted in inner peace, not external thrills or validation. You stop seeking drama for excitement because you've found joy in stability, in the quiet beauty of a life that feels right. You realize that true happiness doesn't come from chasing highs. It comes from cultivating a life where you can breathe, grow, and simply be.
Attracting the real, how self-worth reshapes your world. Something remarkable happens when you live with self-respect. People start gravitating toward you, not the takers, not those who saw you as a means to an end, but those who give, who value reciprocity, who seek genuine connection. Why? Because you've changed. You've stopped settling for less, stopped being an easy target for manipulation or neglect. Your strength, authenticity, and self-respect draw in those who resonate with those qualities. Valuing yourself is about honesty. You don't trade your energy for scraps of attention or fleeting approval. You don't sacrifice your soul for status, recognition, or things that mean nothing if you're miserable. You don't stay where it hurts, whether it's physical pain, emotional suffering, or spiritual depletion. You don't linger where you're not loved, valued, or seen. This internal shift transforms your reality. The external world begins to align with your inner truth, reflecting your newfound worth. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match your standards, not because of some cosmic reward, but because you set a new baseline for what you allow in your life. Awakening your true self, the path to an authentic life. You wake up, look in the mirror, and see a person, you. Not a mask crafted to please others, not a victim of circumstance, not a weary fighter battling an unforgiving world, just you, real, alive, worthy. And you smile, not because you're waiting for rescue or validation, but because you've chosen yourself. You've claimed your life, taken responsibility for your happiness, and embraced your inherent value. You walk with your head held high, not expecting the world to owe you anything. You live at your own pace, free from the rush, the race, the need to prove yourself to anyone. You stop comparing yourself to others, knowing that everyone's path is unique, and yours matters just as much. Your story, your struggles, your triumphs, they're all part of what makes you, you. You learn to say no, calmly, without guilt, without fear of letting someone down. Every yes to someone else is a no to yourself if it's forced or against your well-being. People may bristle at first, may try to guilt you or push back, but over time, they come to respect you. They feel your boundaries, your solidity, your refusal to dissolve into their expectations. You're not a shadow blending into others' desires. You're whole, a person with your own light, your own path. Valuing yourself extends to every part of your being, your body, your mind, your spirit. You eat, sleep, and rest with intention, refusing to burn yourself out for the sake of productivity or approval. You know that no one awards medals for exhaustion or self-sacrifice, and you're done running yourself into the ground. Self-care isn't selfish, it's maturity. It's recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup, and your worth lies in keeping it full so you can live fully, give generously, and show up as your best self.
You stop catastrophizing. Life isn't a series of disasters or an endless obstacle course. It's a flow, some days smooth, others turbulent, but always moving forward. You're here, breathing, choosing. Each day offers a new opportunity to make choices, not from fear or obligation, but from self-respect, from a desire to live a life that feels true. You embrace the messiness of being human, knowing that mistakes and setbacks don't diminish your worth. They're part of your growth. One day, you look around and see different people, steady, trustworthy, free of dames or hidden agendas. Why? Because you've become that person. You've stopped being everyone's convenience, stopped bending to fit others' molds. You've become authentic, and that authenticity draws in those who value it, people who see you, respect you, and walk beside you, not behind or ahead. Your life becomes a reflection of your inner truth, filled with connections that are deep, meaningful, and reciprocal. A daily practice, living with self-respect. Self-respect isn't a slogan to hang on your wall or a destination you arrive at once and for all. It's a journey, a daily practice woven into your words, actions, and moments of stillness. It's pausing to ask, is this truly for me? Does this align with who I am and what I value? It's having the courage to say no to what doesn't fit, even when it's tempting, even when it's familiar. It's choosing yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of a deep commitment to living a life that's true. You learn that being alone is better than being lonely in a crowd surrounded by people who don't see your worth. Silence is better than empty words that fill space but lack meaning. Truth, however raw or uncomfortable, is better than a polished lie that erodes your soul. Because you exist, and that's enough. You're not a project to perfect, a blank slate for others' expectations, or a vessel for their approval. You're a person, alive, real, worthy of a life that reflects your value. When you live with self-respect, everything else follows, not instantly, not without effort, but inevitably. You attract people who uplift you, opportunities that align with your purpose, and a life that feels like home. Not because you forced it or chased it, but because you're ready to receive it. You're open to a world that mirrors your worth, a world you've built through the quiet, courageous act of choosing yourself every single day.